Let's go.
Hello and good evening, ladies and gentlemen, or good morning, whenever you're catching this. This is episode 36 now of the MMAHOLICS podcast. We appreciate y'all for joining us. Today we're doing a breakdown of the UFC 310 pay-per-view. Alexandre Pantoja versus Asakura, who's making his debut coming over from Ryzen. Obviously, me just saying that phrase, a lot of people didn't really like the fact Kyle Sakura got a title shot. But I think knowing like his popularity and like his history in MMA, I think like the UFC, it was kind of a no brainer to them. That's what they thought. And also that I do believe they paid a lot of money to acquire Asakura. Yeah, of course, Asakura knows about UFC, this and that. But at the end of the day, he knows how much he likes to get paid, and he probably still wanted to keep that same kind of standard, that same standard, especially at the biggest promotion. He knew they had that kind of money, and he signed the contract. So yeah, and we're here now. Last time I saw something like this was when Chris Cyborg fought Yana Kunitskaya when she made her debut for the featherweight title. But how do you feel about the whole card, Nikki, and like the whole pay-per-view as a whole before we dig into it?
Hell yeah. First out, shout out our boy in here nice and early. How you doing? You got Rick Ross and Dominic Reyes. Got Dominic Reyes fighting this weekend, which is awesome. But yo, this card is really cool. I saw like one of those TikToks where people were rating all the cards of the year, and I think this is like a solid. This should for sure be a 9 out of 10 once it's all said and done. This card looks really good. Prelims, really good fights. Main card, good fights. I'm even hyped for that Kron Gracie and Bryce Mitchell fight at this point. I don't really care about the placement of the card anymore. I think even with Evloev and Sterling on the prelims, it's just a really good card overall. So I'm super hyped, ready to do these breakdowns.
Yeah, man, of course, me and you both. We really appreciate my boy Eben, most definitely. Yeah, no, it's a funny ass comment for sure. Yeah, and shout out to Rick Ross though. That's one of my favorite artists. I work out almost every day. So I definitely think it's because I got like chubby cheeks. My parents have told me that my whole life or whatever, and like my siblings as well. But yeah, I work out like, of course, no one gives a fuck. But I work out like 4 to 5 times a week. I try to get in there. You feel me? So it's really funny that like it's just like my cheeks be throwing people off about how I really look in real life, and it's just like damn, but no, it's all good.
We be in that gym OD. I've been at a Muay Thai fucking 4 days a week, jujitsu. 1 or 2, it's crazy, bro. Just a lot of fucking working out.
Oh,
I was
not
texting you. I've been rolling with my coach, who's a black belt after classes, like just getting as much work in as I can. It's crazy. It's draining, dude. I be trying to weigh myself before and after class. Like it's a digital scale, but it says I lose like 3 pounds. I know it's bullshit, but like still, sweating so much and just enjoying mixed martial arts a lot.
Yeah, no, of course. I mean, and like I was gonna say, hey man, like working out your body is one thing, cardio upper body, like legs, whatever. But learning how to fight is another. So, and also I got a blood disorder called sickle cell disease as well. For y'all that do know what that is and stuff like that. So I definitely do work out like a lot. Like I have to like extend my life expectancy and stuff like that. So like definitely never gonna see me be on no couch potato shit. Most definitely not. And again, I want to appreciate y'all for joining us. Shout out to my boy Tai Tai. Known this dude for a while. Always super nice when he comes in here. Just like the boy Eben, nice and early. Really appreciate you boys coming through. Most definitely. And yeah, just like Nikki said, we can definitely dig into this card now. We were going to start from the top of the card, y'all, at the top of the bill, before we dig into these prelims, these decent prelims for sure. Yeah, nah, facts. WMC mentioning a classic. That's one of my favorite songs. One of my favorite hooks by Drake. Of course, they're those two are at odds now, unfortunately. But they made a really, really good multiple good songs together.
Oh, yeah.
Back in the day, like Stay Scheming, Money in the Grave, Pop That, you feel me?
Now Lemon Pepper Freestyle, that had them both, right?
Yeah,
Diced
diced
pineapple.
pineapples, like all that
Yeah,
kind of stuff. Yeah, lemon pepper freestyle. Yes, they did.
that was a good one. That was a good one.
Yes, they did. I forgot about that. Yeah, they have. Yeah, and like it's unfortunate. You feel me? Of course, a lot of things happen behind the scenes that we don't know about, but hopefully they start making music again. We saw Young Thug get out of jail, and he tweeted out the "Oh, come on, y'all!" Like, um, the world's not same without us collabing and stuff like that. Like we're brothers, we should always collab. And Future retweeted it, so I mean, we'll see how we'll see if they end up being on a song together. Of course, it's all business at the end of the day. But yeah, looking at this card, it's decent, for sure. I definitely feel pretty good about it going into it. It has a lot of exciting matchups on it, a lot of storylines on it too, a lot of veterans on this card. And kind of big make or break fights for them at this moment in their respective careers. But yeah, ain't gonna keep y'all holding. Ain't gonna hold y'all too much longer. We can definitely dig into this card now and get right into it. Starting out with the main event, y'all already know how we like to do the main event at the channel. One person does the champion, one person does the challenger. So I can do the challenger, so you can start off with one of the greatest flyweights of all time. Most definitely.
For sure, we got Alexandre Pantoja. I mean, his resume speaks for himself. At this point, he has ran through the flyweight division. They're bringing in a bantamweight from Risen to, even challenge him here. Very versatile. He's a great striker. Phenomenal jiu-jitsu. I think he has some of the best jiu-jitsu in the UFC, honestly. Yeah, just looking through his wins and losses. Couldn't beat Davison back in the day. I was looking through this guy, so I was into UFC a little later than most people, so I didn't know about this guy. I was looking at him and I just saw he switched promotions, right? And now he's not fighting anymore. I didn't know about him. I didn't know. I saw he has that win over Pantoja. He'll never get back. But yeah, Pantoja's beat Moreno twice. He's beat Royval twice.
Mm-hmm.
They tried to throw Urseg at him. Urseg couldn't get it done. It was a close fight. It was unanimous, but it felt closer than it looked. But yeah, he's done it all. He's a great fighter. Goes to deep waters in all his fights. Yeah, that's about it for me.
Yeah, man. Like I said before, you broke it down. Great breakdown, of course, from my co-host Nikki, as always. Yeah, like he's one of the greatest flyweights of all time. I feel like it's pretty hard to take that away from him at this moment in his career. It's pretty cool, like seeing he was just a contender for so long. He just had a number next to his name for so long after coming off the Ultimate Fighter, and he really went on to make a name, like not like more than a name. Like he's gonna be a future Hall of Famer. If you were to lose the belt on Saturday, he'd retire a future Hall of Famer. He could retire after that and never come back, and he'd make the Hall of Fame. He'd be a legend in Brazil. Like he's headlined pay-per-views. Now this is like his second time around headlining a pay-per-view. So it's really cool to see him get this kind of treatment. They still could they still could have called somebody if they wanted to. They thought he was cool enough to headline the card. Like if this was the strawweight title or something like that, even with Weili being as popular as she is, I don't know if they would let her headline a pay-per-view, like be the final fight at the end of the night. So I think that they thought this storyline was enough to fill out an arena. And of course, every pay-per-view fills out an arena, whether people like it or not. So with this fight in particular, he's coming out here. Obviously, this would be like his third title defense if he gets it done. No one's ever gonna catch Demetrius Johnson. It just is what it is. You feel me? That's 11 title defenses. So and he never lost it. It's not like some 2-time getting it back and he just never lost it. He got the belt, he ran off with it. And that was it. You feel me? So I'm not gonna be unfair to any flyweight that comes in the future and makes her has 6-7 title defense. We'll see how many Pantoja gets in total when he retires and stuff. But I just think right now you could definitely say he's maybe the second greatest flyweight to ever do it, most definitely.
I think he's better than Demetrius Johnson.
Better? Do I think he's better than him?
Or greater, I guess.
Oh, nah, okay, if we're talking 20 years down the road, if we're doing prime Demetrius versus prime Pantoja, I'm taking like Demetrius all day. I think he's super. Demetrius like still super well rounded. Like it doesn't matter like where the fight goes. I think Pantoja has the best grappling ever. In the flyweight division in terms of like his Brazilian jiu-jitsu and stuff. But like Demetrius, like if he gets a full camp and stuff like that, like he'd be aware of that. He knows he's gonna hit the ground and he's super physically strong. And it's his mindset as well. Really just like, special dude. Doesn't like every fighter doesn't like to lose, but it's different. With DJ, of course. And yeah, of course, giving all respect to Asakura. He's the challenger in this fight. Coming over from Rising, obviously, really popular fighter. Good fighter, has great striking, really good knees up the middle, has decent jiu-jitsu. He is good enough to get back to his feet. Obviously, most of his wins come by way of knockout. He's fought a lot of dudes in the flyweight division, just all over the world in general. Like he fought Manel Kape, Kyoji Horiguchi. He's fought a lot of these dudes multiple times actually. So he's right at home in the UFC. It's not like he doesn't like have any familiar faces here. He only has 3 wins via submission. He's never been submitted though. So we'll see how that goes. But it's different. Obviously, he's never fought a guy like Pantoja. I do think this is like probably more than likely the best fighter he's ever faced in his entire career. You could definitely say that for sure. He lost 2 fights ago to Hiromasa Agu Kobo at Ryzen 33, and that was 3 years ago that he lost the fight. It was by unanimous decision. He didn't get finished or nothing like that. His last time getting finished was to Kyoji Horiguchi, where he lost his belt over in Ryzen. So we're gonna see how he comes. Michael Chandler came into the UFC. He shot out of a cannon, as he likes to say. Definitely made a name for himself. As we stand, 2 years, I think it's like 3 years later, for Michael Chandler being in the UFC now. And yeah, for Kai Asakura, like I said, he's a great striker, decent grappler. You can say he's the better striker in this fight for sure. You can definitely say he's the better technical guy, for sure. Like has more power on the feet. Pantoja has more experience. I think he's fought the way better competition throughout his entire career. So I do think that this will be a pretty entertaining fight. Could be a clash of styles, you could say. Absolutely. And yeah, I think it will be pretty back and forth. I don't know if there's gonna be a finish in this matchup. I will be honest with you. But yeah, like you get the first breakdown, so you can get the first pick, most definitely.
Yeah, for sure. Well, first off, I'm just realizing we got American top team versus Japan top team. That's fucking cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like Pantoja in this fight. It's just the fact that like we've seen him in deep waters. We've seen him against a striker like Moreno, who could put you out with one punch, and then we've seen him against a striker like Royval, who's gonna jab you to death. And Asakura, I think he's more like the Moreno. He's like that one punch power. He's disgusting. Don't get me wrong. He can put out Pantoja, but Pantoja eats punches really well. He gets knocked down. If you knock him down, you better hope you put him out, because I mean, if you're trying to follow up punches on Pantoja, you're gonna have to deal with his jiu-jitsu. If he gets a hold of you, that's not optimal. I personally didn't see any grappling from Kai. All the film I watched, it was striking, ground and pound. Those head kicks, those soccer kicks are crazy. I just like Pantoja. I think this fight is going to go into deep waters. Kai is fighting at flyweight. I know he's fought at flyweight earlier in his career, but it's different. You're an older person now. You're 31. We got to see how he's going to look. It's different in the UFC. It's not like Michael Chandler when he came in and fought Dan Hooker. So yeah, I just think later in this fight, if it goes to those later rounds, what I think it is, Pantoja is going to eat him alive with just weathering the storm, punching back, and then control time. I could see a late submission, or it's probably going to go to a decision for Pantoja, but I'm pretty confident in a Pantoja pick.
Yeah, it's gonna be a pretty just interesting fight. Like we're gonna see because this is his debut. Like he's going to the top level, in his first fight. It's not like we got to see him against an unranked dude. We could compare like 4 performances and stuff like that. He's just jumping into the deep end, just off red, and he's perfectly fine with it, of course. Saying that, we're gonna see how high level he is as soon as this fight starts. We're gonna see how high level, that's what I'm really excited to see. I want to see how he'll handle that burst, that takedown, you know, first round Pantoja. He'll strike too. He'll come forward. That's one thing I am kind of worried about. Because Pantoja will come forward, be really aggressive. He has like really, really good chin. But any chin can get cracked. We just saw Max Holloway get knocked out for the first time in his entire career. A couple pay-per-views ago. So obviously with this, we know that's how Kai Asakura will win the fight. I don't think he's gonna submit Alexandre, definitely not. But to get to my pick though, and even just sprinkle a little bit more on it. Obviously, Pantoja's the better grappler. Asakura's the better striker. It's just an interesting fight. We're gonna see how he compares to the UFC level off rep. He's coming in 31 years old, so he won't have time to do something. Pantoja got the belt at 33 at UFC 290. He was in the middle of his prime when he won that. It's just really just the weight cut. We'll see how the weight cut affects him being older, like Nikki said. So, but not gonna stay too much longer. In the main event of Ultimate Fighting Championship 310, I was gonna
Yeah, it's AI. I don't know what you're talking about. Max never got knocked out. He's still the
yeah,
BMF.
facts. Um, and yeah, this was one point I did want to get to. If you were to ask me who the UFC wants to win, I 100% think they want Asakura to win this belt. They would love for him to be champion. They could go over to Japan, have like a whole pay-per-view night, like not just a fight night. They could dedicate a numbered event to the country. And like, Asakura could sell out a stadium over there. I definitely believe that 100%, especially if he was the champion and they built a card around him and he really defended the belt against somebody, stuff like that. So they would love for Asakura to be champion. But I think it's going to be in still. I think Alexander is going to keep it. I just think his fight IQ is really, really high level. He's really great anywhere the fight goes. He can strike with this dude too. He has power in his hands. He can hurt him on the feet. Hurt him on the feet to the point where now he can start mixing up the takedowns and stuff like that. So that's what I think's gonna happen. I think he's gonna gain their respect on the feet first and then start shooting. I think he knows that Asakura knows that's his main route to victory is getting the fight to the ground. We've seen him take down bigger opponents before, so size is not an issue for Alexandre Pantoja. And yeah, I was going to go in still for one of the greatest flyweights ever, if not the second greatest right now. You could definitely say that. And I'm excited to see what happens in this main event. We were supposed to get, right after this ended, we were going to get Shavkat Rakhmonov versus Bilal Muhammad, of course, but Bilal Muhammad got an injury in his foot, so they had to push this back. But speaking of Shavkat Rakhmonov, he's obviously still on this card. This is a very, 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 very special co-main event. They made it 5 rounds. This is a number 1 contender fight. I'd be shocked if the winner of this doesn't fight for the belt. The winner would be young and undefeated. The UFC would love that, and they're a foreign fighter. They can go to Kazakhstan. They can go back to Ireland with a win here. So. I only mentioned very special because I'm going to do something different this time. And we're going to do the same thing from the main event and do it in the co-main event. So, you could break down the Nomad, number 3 ranked welterweight, most stuff.
Hell yeah, we got Shavkat 18-0, 18 finishes, got 8 by knockout, 10 by submission. He's came into the UFC and he has been the fucking boogeyman of the UFC. I mean, it was him and Chimaev. Everyone was so hyped about these two dudes, and they're both at the top right now. Shavkat came in here. He's went through, you know, the what are they called? I forget what the name is. We got Neil Magny and Jeff Neal, the gatekeepers of the division. Finished both of them. Um, he had a great fight with Jeff Neal. I mean, I was rewatching it the other day. It was a really good fight. He stood there in front of one of the hardest hitters at welterweight. Um, he definitely got damaged. People are calling that a hole in his game. Um, I don't necessarily call it a hole in your game. I think it was not the best game plan to stand there and bang with Jeff Neal, but I think it was more of a statement because he looked good in front of Jeff Neal. Um, the clinch, I mean, Jeff Neal was also above weight at that fight too. I don't think he made weight for that one. Um, but yeah, I mean, his Shavkat's clinch game is amazing. He has great head kicks. He has a strong right hand, clean jab. Um, he's just an outstanding fighter. A lot of people like on the internet, once this fight got made with Ian Gary, they've kind of been pulling back the hype on Shavkat. I've noticed. I definitely noticed that the hype has been pulled from him a little bit. People definitely think Ian Gary could get this done, and I think Ian Gary is a good fighter. You're about to break him down right now. Um, Shavkat just had that fight with a 40-year-old Stephen Thompson. He had, he was working towards that takedown. Once he got him down, it was over from there. Um, didn't stand and bang with Wonder Boy because I mean that's worse than with Jeff Neal probably. But yeah, I think Shavkat's just an amazing fighter. He's definitely going to be a champion one day if it's soon. Same thing with Ian Gary, definitely going to be a champion one day if it's soon. But yeah, you could get that Ian Gary breakdown.
Yeah, man. Again, another fire breakdown, of course. Want to welcome Bismarck MMA to the chat. Thank you for joining us this evening. You could be anywhere in the world, but you're here with us right now. So deeply do appreciate you for sure. Um, Giving another comment on the main event that we just broke down. Yeah, man, like I feel the same way. Like I said, I think he's just beaten just the better competition throughout his entire career, being in the UFC for as long as he has. So I really think that's his biggest advantage. And his IQ is really, really intelligent. Doesn't play any games. As long as he's bringing the bag home, both bags, the win money and the show money, every night. That's all he cares about. We see he has kids, so definitely has to feed the family, of course. And yeah, talking about this co-main event, I love this fight. Like I said, when I first started talking about it, and the second half of it is Ian Machado Gary. Now, of course, this guy, his personality has turned not a few, but a lot of people off. I don't care if a fighter is confident. I know, like, you're fighting these killers from like across the world. So, like, when you set out on that journey, you have to be so fucking confident. That's the same in any sport, like in the NFL, in the NBA, like we see in the NBA, all these European players come out of nowhere, and like these American players have to, like, when you sign up to feed your family off a sport, you have to be so confident in your abilities. So I definitely don't blame Ian Gary for this. And these dudes are fighting each other, regardless of whatever words they say. They're going in there to kill each other, hurt each other, give each other like irreversible brain damage and stuff. I get it. I get it. There's humility in martial arts, and I 100% understand that. I just think with some people, like, they approach it differently, and some people like getting in the mind of their opponent by any means necessary to bring home those bags at the end of the day. Like I said, want to welcome Vulcan to the chat. Got to stop mid fight for that. He's a great guy, always popping in here. Has great picks too. Great bets too. If you guys ever see him in the chat, definitely ask him for some picks. He's really good, for sure. And yeah, so with Gary, like I was saying, I just think that obviously I only started off with his personality because I think it's really clouded his abilities. I've been high on him since he came out of Cage Warriors. I've always thought he was that level. From going through the adversity in his UFC debut with Jordan Williams to knocking him out at the end of the fight. It was like a beautiful right hand. He was like 23 years old when he did that. And it's crazy he's 27 now, all these years later. Like, it's really crazy. Time's really gone by that fast. And I think in terms of his skill set, he can really do it all. He's a really high level striker. He has great footwork. He can strike going backwards. He has good lateral movement. He has a great gas tank. He was the champion at Cage Warrior, so he's trained for 5 rounds before. This is not his first 5 round fight, or at least training for one. Really intelligent guy as well. Like he's super like self aware of like his life and his career. And where he's at in the rankings, like his age in comparison to the rest of the welterweight division, and just things of that nature. I really think fighters like that, like they should be scared of dudes like that. When you really see it from like that perspective, it really allows you like to really train in every facet of the game. And we've seen like he caught a lot of flack at first for going to a lot of different gyms, but doing that, like it's like a movie. He's picked up so many different skill sets along the way. Obviously, he's most known for training with Charles Oliveira. He was down there for like 2 years in Brazil. With his wife, and I think he might still stay down there right now. I think he bought a house at one point. So we know he was training at Killcliff. Mentioning that, him and Shavkat have trained before, so this will not be his first time being in front of him. So he won't have like that aura, like, oh man, this dude's like really scary, like this and that. Ian's really confident too. Of course, like all the personality things are one thing, but the skill set is another. He doesn't have he has knockouts. He has head kick knockouts, like knockouts with the hands, but he hasn't gotten knockouts like that recently. I really feel like that's the step up in competition that he's gotten, obviously. And it's like how Nikki mentioned, with the Jeff Neal fight with Shavkat, I was there live at UFC 285. I saw Shavkat's mouthpiece fly out of his mouth after getting hit so hard. Obviously, with Jeff Neal's performance, it was good, but he wasn't in the best shape. He did miss weight by like 4 or 5 pounds during that fight. And
he was coming off a layoff, right? Didn't he have like the heart surgery or something before that?
I think that was after that was the Neil Magny fight. And then then I think the Shavkat fight was after that. We could definitely check after this to make sure. It won't be hard because he's linked to Shavkat on his record. But yeah, like I was only mentioning that because obviously Ian caught a lot of flack for that performance as well. But I mean, man, like he just wasn't trying to take any damage. Like if he got beat up, but won a split decision and got his hand raised, like, barely getting like, the decision. They see, he got exposed. See the next guy that really hit him on the chin is gonna knock him out. When he got out of there, like, like the clean performance, like he didn't really get hit. He didn't really take any damage like that whatsoever. That's discipline and sticking to a game plan. And it's not like he was like trying to abuse takedowns or whatever. Like, he was striking with them. No, obviously the next fight, the next chapter in the Ian Gary story, he fought MVP. Now coming out in that fight, he was just super confident, like fighting the striker that awkward, with that kind of unique style, such as Michael Venom Page. And a lot of people felt like he took the easy route, you could say. But I think watching that Kevin Holland fight, he wasn't trying to deal with that puzzle at all, and he just took him down, used his grappling. He won it. It was a unanimous decision when he got the victory. But some people thought it could have been a split because, again,
I thought it could have been a split decision.
Because I was going to say a lot of people just weren't like impressed by Ian like that, and like again, they gave him the victory. I really think the main problem with Ian is now, obviously, we're at this fight now. I think that he kind of talked himself into a hole a little bit with the performance. It's just being confident, like I said at the beginning, just being confident. Like when you're fighting these killers from across the world, no one knows, like, unless you're in there, you don't know what that's like. Like, you could like no one knows what it's like to like, and like if you're in the NBA hitting like a game winner in the playoffs, like unless you've done that, you can't just be like, I get it, passing a final exam, like, having sex with the girl of your dreams, whatever. But like doing those things that only special people can do, like, nah, man, that's like adrenaline inducing stuff, So obviously we're at this fight now. And he's coming in very confident. Again, he's coming in very confident. I'm watching embedded. He's saying he's the best undefeated fighter on the roster. And like he's still super confident. He's seen this dude has got a bunch of finishes, and he's still super confident. Well, with pay-per-views, like they always have the storylines, especially like as they go higher up the pay-per-view main card, the storylines get beefier and beefier. And this is my favorite one on this card on Saturday. It's the make or break fight for Ian Gary. They made it. Like they're both, hopefully nothing happens. They're both gonna make weight. They're both gonna fight. He might not be undefeated, and they've been waiting this shit on Ian Gary, man. They've been waiting for him to lose no matter who he lost to. And I think he can get this done, man. Like, I'm not making no picks or none yet. I'm just giving his side, obviously. Because, like, man, like, I've always thought he was super high level. I've been, like, great striking, like, really good grappling, really, really smart fighter. Like, he's not going to play no games. He's not going to do no brawls if he doesn't really need to like that. And he has good striking. It's not like his punches are, like, piss poor and like he has super accurate punches, super accurate kicks, great knees up the middle for being a 6'3" fighter. He's the taller fighter, but I think Shavkat has the reach advantage coming in this fight. And yeah, man, again, last thing I'll say in terms of the skill set, like I just said or whatever, he has pretty decent grappling, for sure. I think he's better than decent, but people need to see him in those scrambles and see him get a heel hook or something like that to really say, oh, he's that good at grappling. I think he's a really good striker. It's his understanding of distance, his footwork, his cardio. He has really good cardio, really made for his style. I think he could win a decision and have no problem in this fight. Of course, not making no picks yet. That's it, man. I just wanted to say all that because if he loses here, of course the hype won't be dead. He'll still be 27. He would have lost to a really good dude. It is what it is. But obviously him being undefeated and having his personality, it just adds a lot to what he has going on right now. And he's been here for a while at this point. You feel me? Same with Shavkat. Shavkat's been here in 4 years now. So it's just, yeah, man, it's the make or break fight for both these dudes. Everything I said about Ian, it applies to Shavkat as well with his record. His aura wouldn't go anywhere. If Ian were to win by split, people are going to call bullshit. They're going to say Shavkat won it and stuff like that. So, yeah, man. And that's another thing. He dominated Neil Magny. I get it. A lot of people might not care about that win today in 2024, but he showed his level in that fight too. There was no adversity whatsoever. He just complete domination, 15 minutes. You feel me? So yeah, that's it, man. And I get it. People gonna watch this back. It's not like Gary not my favorite fighter or nothing like that. But I just see a lot of hate, man, for a dude that's really fucking skilled, man. They put him in this fight for a reason. They could have blackballed him if they wanted to. They want to see what this dude. Everyone's gonna see what he's really made of. Everyone believes in Shavkat already. So if they want to see it, Gary's made of. He gonna fight this scary dude with no hesitation. Everyone ducked him. No one wanted to fight this dude. And he said yes with no hesitation, man. And he's been waiting on this moment. And now we're gonna see he's in the co-main event in a 5-round fight. We're gonna see how it goes, man. But you give the first breakdown. So who you picking?
I'm definitely taking Shavkat in this one. My opinion, it's just the fact that it's a 5-round fight. It's a cage fight. So it's the styles make matchups. Ian's style against Shavkat is going to be to avoid close range combat. When you just look at the skills, what they possess, Ian Gary is very good. He definitely has the range and the kicks. He has great roundhouse kicks and he has really quick teep kicks. He attacks the front thigh a lot. Compared to the stomach, trying to wear out the legs a little bit, what he did to Neil Magny. He murdered those legs. That's his game plan. Then he likes to circle the cage. That's where people dislike, because he does it for the whole 15 minutes of the fight. With someone like Shavkat, trying to avoid any contact with him, if you understand what I mean, trying to avoid that for 25 minutes is going to be a tough job. We both need to see what they look like in those last 2 rounds. But I just think eventually there's going to come a time where Shavkat does get a hold of you, and his knees off the clinch are amazing. I mean, that's gonna fuck up Ian Gary. And I know it's like a side thing, but in the comments before, like the horse meat versus vegan diet, I mean that's pretty important to think about. That vegan diet's not gonna put on too much weight after you weight cut compared to Shavkat. I think there's going to be a weight advantage. So when they do eventually scramble and they roll, which is going to happen in this fight, Ian Gary loves to, stay in like a guard or close like, put a body triangle. That's not like that worked against MVP. It's not going to work against someone like Shavkat who just has such dominant pressure. I think if he tries that style, he'll end up getting submitted. And I know he has very good jiu-jitsu, but I mean, so did Charles Oliveira, and that body lock didn't work on Islam. He gets right through it, passes the guard. Once Shavkat passes the guard, he's raining ground and pound, and he's working towards like an arm triangle or something. I think there's not much of a path to a finish for Ian Gary in this fight. Shavkat does keep his guard low, so he could definitely get hit, and he has that big head. Like, that's a real thing. But Ian hasn't showed too much power in his hands. In a few fights he has, but it doesn't seem like flash knockout power, especially if Jeff Neal couldn't get it done with clean strikes. I can't see it for Ian Gary. I could be wrong, but I don't know. And with Shavkat, I mean, he's proved in 18 of his fights that he has the finish ability to fight and finish anyone he's fought. I want to take Shavkat, and I know he has the finish ability. I could see it going to a decision because I know Ian Gary is really good. And I know this fight will get stalled with a lot of grappling. I think Ian is durable. He has, got fucked up once or twice in a few of his earlier fights before. I forget which one it was. But yeah, I want to hear what you got to say because I got Shavkat winning this one. I'm pretty confident, especially at those odds. Even at those odds, like, I think that's a good parlay piece too.
Damn. Gonna try to make him a lock. Also, like I said, for you bettors out there, my boy Vulcan's giving some picks in the chat in case y'all want to go get some of those. Just giving out some picks he thinks, if y'all want to try to bet on this card. There's some pretty good spots for sure. There's some massive favorites. Obviously, there's one right here, but there's some like really deep on the card. There's a lot of like some massive favorites. So, yeah, man. Yeah, my bad. I was reading the comment. Okay, so I mean, yeah, man, with my pick in this fight, you feel me? I don't be picking with my heart or nothing like that. I always stay objective and I stay clear-minded when I make the picks, you feel me? I'm going to go with Ian Gary in this fight. I think he can get this done, man. I think a lot of people that's been doubting him, like, his entire career, man. I think he's always shown that, like, he's high level. Like, he's needed that moment. Like, all that hype would shoot into Ian Gary if he wins this fight, man. And, like, if he loses, like, I mean, like, so what? Like, I did good. Now I gotta be giving a fuck. I mean, I ain't trying to curse on here or whatever, but, like, now I gotta be caring about, like, of course, for the people that come here and bet, I never want to give, like, any bad picks, or nothing like that for anyone that will try to tell what I'd be saying, especially if if Nikki's too busy and I'm here by myself, I'm giving some picks like that. I always want to be objective and, like, really smart with this MMA stuff, obviously, even with all of these ways people can lose and win and stuff like that. So, like, me saying that, I'm being, like, purely objective, like, when I say this, and I think people just like to let their opinions, like, and their emotions, like, cloud, like, their perspective, like, their perception, I really think Ian Gary's freaking good, man. I think, like, I can say this all day, but he just needs the opportunity to show it. It doesn't matter what I say. A lot of people, like, someone just like right when I said I'm picking Ian Gary. Like, I've been high on him since the moment.
That was
like
me.
I get it. Obviously, like, I mean, yeah, like, you have a dude that has a couple decisions versus a dude that has all finishes and stuff like that. I mean, it is what it is. Like Carlson Harris, like, I mean, yeah, like when Ian was finishing his fights, like he was fighting, like, yeah, he had kicked like Daniel Rodriguez, man. Like, people had him getting knocked out by D-Rod, like,
D-Rod stinks.
And stuff like, I mean, like, obviously
D-Rod's a foot out the door.
I was gonna say now, yeah. At the time, like, it was different. Like, he still likely had like respect. That's why they gave him the Gary fight, because they wanted to see, like, oh, how's he gonna do against this veteran? And, like, he got him the fuck out of there, bro. So, Um, I just think like when he's needed to, he's always shown this level. It's just the fights got harder, and he takes a cerebral approach versus someone like Shavkat, who like man, like he'll kill an animal out in the wild forest, man. Like if he with his bare hands, if he has to. And like yo, we don't know like what Gary would do, like if if he was stuck out in Ireland, just like like how they're cut as men and stuff like that. Obviously, people think Shavkat's cut from a different cloth in terms of where he's from in the world, in his region and stuff like that. They think Gary might be kind of like bitch made or
Well,
whatever.
you gotta realize, yeah, if you're talking on that conversation, everyone's gonna have the same opinion. It's that Shavkat is like,
He's
yeah,
coming from a
I,
mountain,
I
yeah.
kill the animal and I eat it with
Like,
my bare hands. And then with Ian Gary, it's like I live with my wife's
I mean, like yo,
ex-husband.
and like yo,
Like,
and
like it's just that if you're gonna go that angle, Ian Gary's never gonna win on Who's the Man. People will never give him that credit.
I mean, they're never gonna. I mean, yo, like they never like to like. Cause I get it. He was
That's like
confident
a testosterone difference right
for
there.
sure. Like okay, like yeah, he was talking trash. I mean, first off, plus they said like it wasn't like that. His wife made that video saying like the nutritionist never stayed with them. He was like he did it for like one fight and like that was it.
It's
It
not
wasn't.
just that though. It's like that he got all emotional over Neil Magny's kid situation.
Oh,
You
okay, like
think
yes.
Shavkat would ever worry about something like that? I just think Ian Gary's a very he seems a little emotional, but he's very good at he's good at the mic in his own head. He's good on the mic in his own head. I think he sucks on the mic. I don't want to hear him one bit, but he's very confident on the mic in what he says. It just doesn't come out well to other people. Pause. So I think it's just like it's gonna be hard for him. He needs to either change the way he is on the mic or something because people don't like it. I mean, unless he just wins everything for the rest of his life, people really don't like it.
Mhm.
Real quick, how are you doing on time right now? Are we good?
Oh yeah, I'm fine. I'm good, bro. I'm
Okay,
fine. I'm good.
okay, okay.
Like the rest of these fights won't take too long. These were these are the top two
These are big
fights,
ones, yeah, yeah.
obviously. The two fights on the poster. Um, and yeah, man, like like I guess that's really all I can say about it. Like it's a deep fight. I want to make sure I got everything out because once we close these laptops, like these computers, like it's over. You feel me? Like he can, like it's over. Like again, I think he can win the fight. Oh yeah, I didn't even give a method of victory. I think he can win via decision. I think he's gonna just really have that making that style like performance, man. I really come out here and really to shock the world. That's what he has to do to win this fight, and he has to do it round by round by round. It has to be in the fifth round. Like, oh my god, is Shavkat gonna get a finish? Like, and Gary gets hurt in the fifth, and then like he almost gets choked out, and like stuff like that. Like that's what would happen. In
I
this fight.
wonder how his submission defense is. Not his grappling defense, but like if Shavkat locks up a submission, I want to see if Ian could get out of it, or because it's tight pressure. These Russians have super. I mean, he's not Russian, so
That's what I think he's
super tight
Kazakhstan,
pressure.
man. That's
Super
what I
tight
think is
pressure.
gonna happen. I think it's gonna be a great fucking fight. I think like they're gonna go back and forth, man. Like people are gonna have no choice but to be like, oh shit, when Ian lands a strike, like if whether it's a head kick or anything like that.
And he
That's
will. He will. He's definitely
like
going to land on Shavkat in this fight. Shavkat keeps his guard very low and he's very hittable. And it's not a flaw like people say because he does that so he could clinch and he could take you down. Like it's just part of his style. If his guard is so high, I mean it affects the way you fight. Ian fights with a super high guard. And that's
and
why he can't stand in the pocket with someone like Jeff Neal. He'll get ripped to the body and shit like that. He froze on us. I hope we didn't lose you. Oh no. Give him a second, guys. But yeah, I definitely noticed that Shavkat has a very low guard compared to Ian Gary's high guard. Ian Gary keeps his hands right at his head, blocking his head from damage. But Shavkat lets it happen. I mean, if you watch that Jeff Neal fight, his hands were low and he was getting tagged up like a storm. But every time he got close, I mean, he was getting a hold of Jeff Neal. He couldn't get the takedowns in that fight. Um, he's
you hear
back.
me?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, I got you. Yeah, that's cool. Uh-huh.
You're good. I was just talking about Ian Gary's high guard, Shavkat's low guard.
Hmm.
Just like we said, styles make fights. Those are their styles. Ian Gary likes to protect his head. Shavkat likes to keep his hands low so he could use them. Oh no, did we lose him again? Oh, this is a load of bullshit, guys. The Wi-Fi is not going too well right now. It happens. It definitely happens. Um, Thank you guys for being in here, by the way. If you're not followed already, please follow. Turn on those notifications and like the video. I updated the channel so now you can see
And watch
upcoming
out for
lives and
Jaden.
past lives. Yo, you good?
Yeah. I'm on my hotspot now, y'all, so it should definitely be better for sure. Yeah, can you hear me?
You're good now.
All right, bet. Cool. Yeah, y'all. Thank you again for joining us, for sure. Yeah, it's just some Wi-Fi stuff. But like I said, obviously we spent a long time on this fight. It's just a big fight in my opinion. Like, the last thing I was gonna say before we move on, I think they will have a rematch like later down the line. I think like the fact we got this fight and like a co-main on a pay-per-view, it's gonna be like, damn, man, like the first fight was.
Maybe. There's a lot of guys at welterweight. They're gonna have to fight each other. Sean Brady, Prates. You got there's a lot of names at welterweight.
Mm-hmm.
Still got
And
Leon. We got Bilal. Whoever fights Kamaru. You got Buckley. You got a lot of names. I would love to see a rematch if it's a good fight, but you never know. They might just not end up getting it.
right. Nah, yeah, you're right. But yeah, we can move on though. Yeah, y'all really wanted to put a lot into those fights, y'all. Some big fights for sure. And yeah, man, damn, I forgot about this fight being on this card. Um, yeah, so I was gonna go with Cyril Gane in this fight. He won the first one. I think Volkov has looked great. In his recent performances. For me, like in this matchup, I just think it's Gane's like understanding of the striking. I think no matter how long he's been away from the cage, he'll forever have a unique style in the heavyweight. He won the first fight pretty soundly. And Volkov was looking good back then. Of course, he's kind of definitely on a streak right now. You could definitely say that. But I do think that Cyril Gane is a higher level opponent than all the people that he has beaten. So Volkov can win this fight. It's just I don't think you'll have like he'd have to catch him like come in on a really good counter. I think Cyril Gane's just a little too fast to get beat by Volkov, so I was gonna go with Cyril Gane. To get back on the horse in this fight, to really try to get that respect back. And get back in the title picture. Obviously, like they want him back in the title picture, 100%. They pay him a lot of money, so they want to give him big fights. So I was gonna go with Cyril Gane by decision in this fight.
I completely agree with you. I'm taking Cyril Gane to win this by a decision. It's only a 3-round fight, so to take that into account, Cyril Gane just has the speed advantage. Super technical. His punches into kicks are clean. His striking kind of reminds me of Rob Whittaker a little bit, and he's very in and out, very elusive of a fighter. Volkov, very good range, and he sits behind his jab all fight. He has good kicks also. He's just slow in my opinion. Like I get he's on this 4-fight win streak. People think he's on like this he revived his career, and he probably did, but I think this fight doesn't favor him. Someone like Gane gets a lot of disrespect because he lost 3 title fights. But he's like really good. It's just one of those dudes who's at the top of the division for a reason. He's gonna prove it. I mean, they gave him Spivak, and he was like, "What the fuck is that for?" And he dominated out there. He looked good, and it was like I said, they gave him the wrong Sergey in that fight. It should have been Pavlovich if they really want to give him a different fighter. I think like that was exactly what was supposed to happen. So yeah, I'm taking Gane in this fight to win this one by decision. I feel pretty confident in this pick. I mean, unless Volkov, like you said perfectly, catches him coming in or leaving the pocket. Those are the only, that's when he's going to catch him. It's not going to be Volkov initiating something to knock him out or something.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, great breakdown, bro, as always. Moving on further down the card. Yeah, I was gonna go. Well, first I'll probably even like say that it's cool to see Kron Gracie back. You don't really see a Gracie in the UFC in the modern era nowadays. Most of them are like Neiman Gracie and Bellator, and most of them just do like ADCC matches, just jiu-jitsu. They don't really compete in MMA like that. Of course, Kron isn't the most active fighter. But like I said, though, it's cool to see Gracie in the modern era of UFC. From UFC 1 all the way to 310. So yeah, man, I was gonna go with Bryce Mitchell in this fight. I just think he's the more well-rounded fighter. If it hits the ground, like it will be interesting. I think it will be kind of interesting. We saw how Kron Gracie was like pulling guard versus like Charles Jourdain, so he couldn't submit Jourdain. Jordan has kept a good game plan, kept it on the feet, just box, and stayed at a distance. I think Mitchell's going to try to keep the same game plan. Just really use his teep to the body. Just really use this fight as like a tester back. He's still a ranked featherweight at this time. So I really think he's going to come back, really try to really just get a win here, like by any means necessary. Honestly, we saw what happened in his last fight when he lost to Josh Emmett like that. So they gave him this grappler on purpose. Obviously, it's grappler versus grappler for sure. I don't think Bryce is in any danger on the feet in this fight whatsoever. It's gonna be like a one championship match, to be real. Especially if it hits the ground, obviously. And yeah, I was going to go with Bryce Mitchell in this fight. Before we get to Nikki, I just want to give a shout out to Hooper, the elf. Thank you so much for joining us. Got to have an elf in the chat around Christmas time. That's December 4th as we record this. So, and Merry Christmas to all of you who celebrate it. Thank you so much for joining us. Absolutely. Got Hooper in the chat. But yeah, who you picking, Nikki?
So I'm genuinely a little bit torn in this fight because you got to remember Bryce Mitchell is a grappler at the end of the day. I think Bryce does have good striking. It's not outstanding. He has, good head movement. It's like I would say it's like decent striking. Kron on the feet, like he's gonna keep going forward. When he is on the feet, right? Like he loves to be on the ground, but when he is on the feet, he's gonna keep coming forward. He's durable. It's outstanding jujitsu. And then you got to remember, like I said, he's going against Bryce Mitchell, whose style is a grappling style. I think Kron should be able to survive on the feet with Mitchell, and I think Mitchell's gonna want to go and do jujitsu with Kron Gracie. I think he's gonna be hard headed and take that challenge if it like comes to him. He's not gonna be like Jourdain, who's like stand up, back up while he's pulling guard. No, I think he's gonna go into the guard, try and pass it. I don't. I'm really torn on this. If it goes to a decision, I'm gonna take Bryce Mitchell in this one, but I think Kron might be able to sub him in this. Like Bryce has the standing advantage, like I said, but it's not enough where it's like I think he's gonna knock out Kron Gracie. If anything, it's gonna be a decision for Mitchell or a sub for Gracie. I wouldn't put money on it, but I am leaning towards a Gracie sub in this fight.
Mm-hmm.
And I like Mitchell. It's just style, like we always say, styles make fights, and I feel like he'll bait Mitchell into the ground. I think if Kron is on the ground, Mitchell's gonna be like, I could take this guy here, and I don't know if he could.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. It's an interesting matchup. I think if Kron had better wrestling, like if he had a blast double, like he'd take him up and like get him to the ground like that, like in the first round, he could definitely like. Cause now he has offense with that shit. Now he can like really get him to the ground and probably like really chase the submission. You feel me? Everyone really giving their opinions in the chat. And Bismarck is right about that. He actually took Topuria down at one point, and the fight ended in the second round. It's like he got knocked out in the first round, like how like the countdowns make it seem and stuff like that. You feel me?
He weaved a few of Ilya's strikes too, which was pretty impressive. I think he ducked under and slipped something. It was impressive. I know he kind of like got manhandled at one point, but Bryce did look impressive for a little bit in that fight, knowing what Topuria is now.
I just think once you felt the power like that like like mentally, it's like okay, holy shit. I was like, all right. Especially obviously we see like how you just said, we see what he is now. So that was some crazy power that he took. He took a lot of shots too, man. Somebody just get knocked out after like one big punch. Like he took a lot of shots. He got submitted, not knocked out. So and that fight definitely obviously did a lot to his confidence, but it shouldn't. Obviously, we saw what Topuria went on to be. So and yeah, moving on.
All right, Tata, I got you. I got Kron winning by guillotine in this fight. Let's move on. That's my official pick.
Oh, word. Okay, bad. I feel you.
Call the sub too. Why not?
Pick the Gracie. I feel you. This fight is super interesting. For multiple reasons. You can have this one. Go ahead, Nikki. Go ahead.
I'm taking Choi in this fight. I think this is gonna be like a barn burner of a fight. Nate the Train. He's just like he lives in the fire. He's gonna come as soon as the fight starts. He's looking for the finish. I think he's a really good fighter. the thing is, like, he's nonstop. Choi has been knocked out. I think he got hit with a left hook and been knocked out. But he also has very good power. He's not gonna land in bunches. He lands like his what comes in. I think he's gonna counter Nate when he comes in with something. I could see Choi winning this one by a knockout, just because I think the output of Nate is just gonna be so high in this fight. He's gonna get caught with something at one point. I think he could win. It's a 50-50 fight in my opinion. I'm taking Choi though on this one.
Yeah, nah, this is a really, really close fight. I'm not gonna hold you. It is pretty close for sure. Damn, Mags, the Korean Superboy. He had a lot of hype at one point. You feel me? The betting odds do indicate this is a close fight. I think Nate Landwehr has looked pretty good, man. Like, some of the wins, like it's like that win over Ludovic Klein is just like so great. Especially like like 3 years later. So, and obviously he just knocked out Jamal Emmers in this last fight. And I thought that was a really good win, knowing how Emmers is such a high level opponent. You feel me? At least in my opinion, I think he's high level. Has a win over Corey Sandhagen. But yeah, in this fight, damn, it is pretty close. It's gonna be a crazy fight, man. I'm not gonna lie to you, bro. I was gonna go Nate Landwehr, bro. I was gonna go Nate Landwehr too. I think he has great wrestling. He can really get the fight to the ground if he really tries to. He has great grappling. And good power. We saw him get a knockout last time. We've seen him in some fucking wars, man. We've seen him take a lot of damage. Keep going forward. He got dropped at one fight. Like, he got knocked out on the way down and came back and won it. And it's crazy, man, because, like, he says this is crazy, like, he looked really good while fighting in M1 Global, I think it is. M1 Challenge. Yeah. He looked great when he was fighting over there, and that's what made him get to the UFC. But yeah, I was gonna go with Nate the Train in this one, most definitely.
I like it.
Close fight though, for sure. And yeah, y'all, moving on to the prelim section of the pay-per-view. Gonna try to get through these rather quickly, y'all. We both have stuff we both gotta do tonight. We're like on some job stuff. So I want to thank y'all again for joining us for the pay-per-view section. Really do appreciate it. And thank you for joining us as we break down this prelim section. I got some decent prelims ahead of us for sure. Starting out with the feature one. I'm pretty sure it is my bad. Yeah, my bad. My computer had messed up right there. Yeah. See, me personally, I had to take a second look at it on my phone or whatever, because like I thought, like, you'd think Aljamain Sterling and Movsar Evloev would be like with what that fight indicates, you'd think that would be the feature prelim, but it is what it is. But not going to spend too much time on the prelims. Like I said, y'all kind of crunch for time. I was gonna go with it's funny because you're trying to say Nikki look like Tom Hanks. I don't think you look like him or whatever. I've known you for years.
I've heard it from someone at my gym too. They said, you know what, you do look like Dominic Reyes and like a Dagestani mix. I was like, okay, whatever.
Crazy, bro.
Just like white skin, whatever. Fine.
For real. Yeah, bro. I was gonna go with Dominic Reyes in this fight. Got all of his confidence back. Well, maybe not all of it, but a large portion of it. When he knocked out Dustin Jacoby at UFC Louisville. I was there live on my birthday when he knocked him out. It was really cool to see him just let it all out when he got the victory. I know waking up that morning, he probably had so much anxiety knowing what was on the line, and just to pass the test, okay, now I fulfilled my obligation. I can go off for another 8-9 months, especially those first 2 months when you can just relax. Some people get back to training like the next week, stuff like that, like Alex Pereira does. But some guys like to take time off, really go on vacation, treat it like a season, like an NFL athlete, NBA athlete. So it was just really cool, man. Like to see him get that victory, really come back and get that win. Obviously, the whole John Jones situation all those years ago has affected him since then. He went on a 4-fight losing streak after that. But like I said, though, he looked good in his last fight. He's getting his confidence back. He sounds good in the interviews. On the embeddeds. He's shooting guns at the range and stuff like that. So really, just trying to keep his mind off the fight and just stay clear headed. You feel me? That's how you perform best on fight night. And yeah, man, I was gonna go with Reyes in this one. I just think Smith has declined a lot in the last few fights, like athleticism wise. I watched the Believe You Me podcast, and like I saw that episode live that night, where Michael was telling him like, hey, maybe you need to start training better. Maybe you need to go to a different gym. Maybe you're a big fish in a small pond. Like I watched that live, because they do like the Tuesday at midnight and like the Thursday at midnight. So I was just up that night. And like I always watch them when they go live for sure. Well, it's a premiere, but I watched that, and that really confirmed a lot of people's suspicions about Anthony Smith's diet, his work ethic. Obviously, he's still a UFC fighter, so he's still training every day, more than likely. But we saw how TJ Dillashaw just attacked him mercilessly. Just with the words saying he'll never be a champion, he'll never have the work ethic, things of that nature. But we know how much the UFC like him. They gave him his own show on ESPN MMA called the Lionheart Lounge, where he gets to interview fighters and stuff like that. The last time he did it, it was in Salt Lake, Utah, where he was talking to Alex Pereira about his tattoo and stuff like that. So they give him I know that's ESPN MMA. That is still ESPN. So to give him a show on ESPN like that, I'm like, okay, like obviously they like him a lot. He always first to death and stuff. So I don't think they'll ever cut Smith. I just think they'll pull him to the side. And I think he himself will know when it's time. And this could be Smith's last fight. This is he's one of the fighters I was talking about that might be at a crossroads, being like his age now, 35, like 36, that's pretty young for light heavyweight. But obviously Smith has Smith has like 100 fights. So obviously that might have caught up to him at this stage in his career. He's been fighting since he was like 17. Yeah, and like even on a quick side note, Bismarck co-signs TJ Dillashaw with his comments on Anthony Smith and like his work ethic and his training regimen. And that's coming from one of the greatest bantamweights of all time. Obviously, we know the whole Dillashaw story, whatever. But yeah, like who are you picking in this one?
I'm taking Anthony Smith in this one.
Wow.
I'm not. The thing is, like, it's not that I'm confident in Anthony Smith. It's that I'm not confident in Dominic Reyes. I think people are putting a lot of weight on his win, and I get it. Like, yes, he's back in the win column. That doesn't mean you just stay in the win column, though. Like, you have to. It's the better fight. Anthony Smith is better than Dustin Jacoby, in my opinion. I get like Anthony Smith has been on a skid, and he can't really win that many fights as he used to. But he's still a veteran, and veterans, 15-minute fights, they could survive them. I don't think Anthony is going to death gas in this fight. He has, I would say, decent striking. He doesn't have Dominic Reyes' striking, but he has decent striking that he's durable. I don't think he's going to go down in a jab. Didn't Dominic Reyes like knock him out with the jab, or he got knocked out with the jab? I don't remember.
It was a power jab by Ryan.
It was power jab that he got knocked out with, or that he knocked out Jacoby with?
Oh, Jacoby, that was the like flurries up against the cage.
Okay. I just don't see Anthony Smith get putting out like that, in my opinion, by Reyes. And then like the grappling, like if he gets Reyes down, it's like he's gonna secure the round. If he gets him against the cage, I mean, he's gonna be able to stall. I'm not confident enough in Dominic Reyes to pick him in this fight. You lost 4 in a row, you win 1. You could go right back on that skid, so it's not confident. It's a low tier pick for me either way. So yeah.
Yeah,
not super excited about the fight, but like it's not a bad fight in my opinion.
I mean, that shit just sucks, man, because
like with your fight.
Yeah, these dudes are funny in the chat, bro.
Stupid, bro.
It's pretty funny, man, because the UFC knows, but like they know what they be doing when like all that I just said, how much they like Smith, they're giving him a dude that, in his last 5, he's like 1-4, and like Smith's struggling too. I get it. On paper, it's like they're giving him a guy he might be able to beat right now, but like they're doing it to be like, oh, like, it's like a loser leaves town match, and um, it's a business at the end of the day. They don't care how much they like you. It's a business at the end of the day. So, yeah, man, I was going to go with Reyes to get this done. I just think he's just, way more athletic at this point in his career. And like, yeah, and like just that win just gave him like, I could still do it. Like, we'll come out in the first round, throw some strikes. Like in the second, I know I can beat this guy. Like, and we'll see what happens. We'll see if Smith can hurt him, and like that just be that like that would take us into the pay-per-view for real. If Smith came out here and just like rejuvenated his career with a knockout, and just like that should be crazy. Shout out to Anthony Smith though. I'm always watching his podcast, like I said. And he's a fellow black man, of course. For those of you who don't know, Smith is black. If you
I
see
didn't know that.
like, oh nah, like yeah, if you see like old pictures and stuff, like he's mixed, but he's biracial. But
Okay.
if you see old pictures of him when he was in Strikeforce, stuff like that, with his hair, it kind of grows out like a fro kind of. So like yeah, he was
That's
black.
interesting.
He's black for sure. It's kind of like Jason Kidd for the Mavericks. He's black too.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't know that. If you see like his rookie pictures, you'll see his hair. Like he was for sure black, most definitely. Yeah, bro. Moving down the card a little further. Vincente Luque versus Timba Garembo. I was going to go with Garembo in this one. I think he's looked really good lately. On the feet, on the ground, I think he can get it done. And he has a lot of good energy in his life right now. I'm really happy for this dude. Obviously, we saw how The Rock endorsed him. And Colby Covington, he bought it, he gave him some stuff too. So I think they had a falling out kind of, but obviously he's a good fighter. The UFC like him a lot. I do believe so. They like Luque too. I just think Garembo has more momentum in his career right now, and he's taking far less damage than Vicente Luque. So I was gonna go with Timba to get it done. But this could be the fight where Luque again rejuvenates his career. We'll see how it goes. Also, it's a crossroads fight for Luque too. They won't cut him off this loss, but it'll definitely show that like, okay, he's losing to unranked guys, this and that. And like, yeah, they'll probably give him to up and comers for real now. And yeah, that's it.
I'm on board with you. I'm taking Garembo in this one. I didn't really know much about him. I was watching the embeddeds though. He seems like a really like calm soul. It's refreshing like watching his like sections of the embedded. Like he's just so calm, just trying to speak his wisdom, and that's it. And I think he seems really cool. I think he has a cool personality. I watched Kamaru and Cejudo's podcast. Kamaru was endorsing him. Big fan of him. So I'm gonna take Garembo. Luque, I'm not too impressed with. I mean, he's like solid. I think he gave up in the last fight and just let himself get finished with it was Buckley, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think he just gave up in that one. Let's let the ground and pound happen. He has good takedown defense, good submissions. I just think it's like it's not his time anymore, Luque. Simple as that. You got an up and comer here. I think he's gonna make a name for himself in this fight. So that's it.
Yeah, that's it for me too. Moving a little bit further down, extremely interesting matchup we have here. Like we say, we can't spend too much time. Do want to, we got a future Hall of Famer in this one. So this is a really interesting matchup. I do think so, 100%. I guess I could just start off with the pick and just give the reason why. I was going to go with Aljamain Sterling in this fight, man. I think he can get it done, man. I think he can get it done. I think he has great wrestling himself. We saw he was able just bear maul Calvin Kattar at UFC 300, made it look easy, took him down, dropped him on his head at one point like a real pile driver. At one point, it's really hard to do that, especially as the shorter man, pick up the taller man and then slam. Like, it's really hard to even get him in that position to do something like that, So that really shows his technique. He's a really strong guy. And I think his height really throws people off from how strong Aljamain really is. He has great jiu-jitsu as well. The scrambles in this fight, I do think are going to be extremely interesting. I'd be shocked if Sterling gets held on his back. If he's able to get to Mobstar's back, maybe get some control time. He's like one of the best back takers, literally in UFC history. He won a belt with his back taking. And yeah, man, I think like on the feet, Mobstar is the better striker. You could definitely say that. I like Mobstar's technical boxing. We saw him hurt a guy like Arnold Allen on the feet. So that definitely shows you he can strike for sure. On Embedded, they showed a lot of respect to each other. Mobstar came up, gave him a hug. He didn't shake his hand. Like I think he gave him a hug or whatever, and they embrace each other. Like, hey, let's do this. Like, how's your weight cut? Stuff like that. So really professional. It's all business. It's all business at the end of the day. I just think with Sterling, with his championship experience, he's gone 5 rounds a bunch of times. So no matter what pace happens in this fight, he is made for all 3 rounds. And he won't be afraid of the takedown. He'll know he can stuff some takedowns. He can maybe get a guillotine or something like that. And we'll see how it goes. But I'm going with Sterling to win by decision. Who are you picking?
I'm gonna double up. I got Aljamain Sterling winning this one. I'm not. It's hard because when 2 wrestlers fight, they usually do stand up for a while. It's obvious Aljamain has the better submissions. Mavsar is a very careful fighter, and he probably has, I wouldn't say the better wrestling, but the more technical wrestling. He's very good at sprawling and rolling out of situations. We've seen it with the Diego Lopez fight.
Mm-hmm.
Aljamain, he looked good in the Calvin Kattar fight. That I'm not going to put too much weight into that one. Calvin didn't look good in that fight, in my opinion. But Aljamain has really good kickboxing. He trains at Longo MMA. They're great kickboxing camp. I've been seeing they've been bringing in a lot of kickboxers. So I mean, his stand-up can only be getting better at this point. He's at a comfortable weight. I think this is the right weight for Aljo at this point in his career. It's hard because Mavsar, I don't know. He should he's undefeated. He's really good. People don't like him because they call it boring how he goes to the decisions. I think he would have got finished in that Arnold Allen fight if he didn't put his hands on the ground. That's not legal anymore. That's not illegal anymore. So if he wants to put his hands on the ground, Aljamain could knee him into next month. You can't get, but at the same time, Aljamain will probably do the same thing. So they both try to use that rule. It's actually interesting. They both use that rule in a fight to save them. It's actually pretty interesting. But I think this will be a good fight. I'm not going to act like I'm 100% confident. It's a little bit of emotion going into this pick because I do like Aljo. But I am taking Aljamain in this fight.
Mm-hmm. No, I get it, man, for sure. Hey, call it survival instincts. That's survival.
He's the former champion. You gotta respect it at the end of the day. He's the former champion.
Golden name. Going to be a Hall of Famer. You're going to be sitting at home in 2027. Well, you might still be fighting then. I mean, you'll be sitting at home in 2029, and you're going to see him at a pay-per-view cage side. He'll be like 40 years old then, and you're going to see Aljamain Sterling, most definitely. Bantamweight champion 2021 when he won it. So, the whole situation, but he really won it.
He won it. He won it. There's no doubt he won in that second fight.
At 273, absolutely, of course. One of my favorite cards, one of the greatest of all time. And yeah, moving further down the card, I really love this matchup as well. Randy Brown versus Brian Battle, Blonde Battle. Again, can get my pick off the top. I was going to go with Blonde Battle, BB, in this one. Just really high on him. He's looked great, man, coming off the Ultimate Fighter. It's really cool to see him really be in a reality show with pre-recorded episodes. And now we see him just fight live every time. He just travels the world, as a UFC fighter. He really did it. He really got signed and went on to do what the purpose of the show is for. So it's really cool to really see that, and he's winning fights. He's not just an Ultimate Fighter winner and he's losing. He's winning fights, knocking dudes out grappling dudes. He's looking really, really good lately. It's pretty funny. He used to weigh 300 pounds. He used to weigh a lot. And now he's fighting at 170. You see his muscle fibers. He really lost all that weight. Even if he had loose skin, he lost all that weight. So going into this fight, I mean, I already gave the pick, but yeah, Battle has great striking. and how he wins this fight, I think just being aggressive, walking Randy Brown down, close in the distance, not letting him use that long 80-inch reach. Really close in the distance and just really walking him down, ripping to the body. We saw Jack Della Maddalena knock him out, and I think Brian can do the same. And I think it's going to be a second round knockout. I think the first round's going to be really fun, really exciting. And I think he's going to hurt him in the second when he realizes like the adjustment he has to make between rounds. And I think it's going to be a second round KO.
I'm also taking Brian Battle in this fight, but I think he has to hurt Randy Brown. I don't think he'll win a comfortable decision. I think Randy is too good of a boxer and his footwork is too clean for it to be like a point decision win for Battle. If it goes that far, I think if it goes to the third round and they're just, playing the whole fight, not playing because it's going to be a really good fight, but if there's no damage that Battle could get, I think Rand in the third round, that means Battle would be wrestling all fight, working shit in, might get a little tired. Brown would probably be able to finish it in the third round at that point, or win a decision. So I think Battle, which I think he will, hurt Randy Brown early in this fight, I think he'll also win this one, either by a decision or, like you said, it can be a knockout in the second or something. I think a Battle decision after hurting Randy Brown early in the fight, then winning a decision. That's my path to victory for Battle.
All right, bet. Sounds good, yo. Just got about 5 fights left. Can call this UFC Fight Night. Weidman versus Anders. It's a special 5-card fight night in the middle of the night. Yeah, man. So I mean, we don't even gotta really spend too much time on this one. This was a rebooking. They were supposed to fight on the last pay-per-view in New York City, UFC 309. Jones versus Miocic, and yeah, we both picked Chris Weidman. You changing your pick?
No, nothing changes. Weidman by decision or a possible submission, like I said. Next.
Cool, because I was going with Weidman still too.
I think banger right here, by the way.
Every
Durden versus Joshua Van.
Every prelim needs one, and we got it. You just get the first pick. Go ahead, bro.
I got Joshua Van winning this one. I think Cody Durden is really good. But to keep it short and simple, I think Joshua Van's combinations and his work to the body is very impressive. Just a very outstanding fighter, in my opinion. He did get knocked out. He bounced back really well against Charez at 306, and I have Joshua Van winning this one. Knockout or decision, it could go either way.
Yeah, I
appreciate you.
Oh yeah, for sure. Thank you so much, Tata. Enjoy the fights on Saturday, bro, and stay safe out there, bro. God bless you.
Oh, he's saying gotta go with you. I thought he said he gotta go. But if you were about to get out of here, but you're staying around, I appreciate you. I thought he said he gotta go.
No, it's all good. You're straight, bro. And yeah, dude, I was gonna go with Van too. I think he's better boxing, can stuff the takedowns. We'll see if Durden can get the takedowns. He got knocked out. And I think it was a fight ago, maybe a couple fights ago. He got uppercutted in the third round when he was looking really good. That really sucked, man, because he was looking really good in that fight before the KO happened. But I'm gonna go with Van. Has a lot of momentum right now. I got back on the horse after getting knocked out by Charles Johnson. Picked him in his last fight to win, coming in on short notice, and he still looked good. His chin held up real nicely. So I'm gonna go with Durden. He's fighting a wrestler in this one. Durden has KOs, but I think he won't play with the better boxer in this one. So I'm gonna go with Joshua Van, absolutely, by decision. And yeah, there's 3 more fights left for us. Yeah, man, to call this a legends bout, if you will, for the hardcore fans out there. Michael Chiesa versus Max Griffin. Now, I was going to go with Max Griffin in this fight. I think he'll be able to stuff the takedowns from Chiesa. I think Griffin, you could say Chiesa might be more physically stronger, but I think Griffin's pretty strong too, looking at his build and how shredded he is on the weigh-in sometimes. Chiesa has definitely fought the better competition throughout his career. He was the one that was ranked number 6 at welterweight. At one point, that was the highest he ever climbed, was the number 6 ranked fighter. When he lost to Vicente Luque at UFC 265, he was knocking on the door of a title shot. And he almost won that fight. He dropped Luque, and then he surprised himself by dropping. You could tell he surprised himself by how he saw him drop and stuff. and then like he went for the takedown, and he went to get like the ground control, and he got Darce choked after that. And it was just it was kind of unfortunate, man. Like not kind, it was unfortunate, but what I was really trying to say, like it kind of went downhill a little bit. Like there's when like the after fight stuff came out, like Chiesa ran to the back after that. He was just really, 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 really sad after that loss. Then we saw him lose to Sean Brady after that. Of course, we know Brady's a great fighter. But we've just seen Brady, Chiesa take some losses the past few years. Now he's fighting, Mike Griffin after fighting Tony Ferguson. Can't take anything from the Ferguson win, like at all. They gave him like an old dude in there that should have been fighting. Not disrespecting Tony Ferguson. It's just that's that version of Tony Ferguson. And yeah, I feel like there's not really too much left to say. I was going to go with Max Griffin. I think he'll just off the physical strength, he'll be able to stuff the takedowns, keep the boxing on the feet, jab, jab, and just hurt him and really just keep it on the feet, and keep him at jabbing range and just stuff the takedowns, and that's it.
Yeah, I'm agree with you. I'll take Max Griffin. Kaize, he has really good grappling, but just poor stand up. If Max stuffs the takedowns, he wins the fight. Pretty simple. Probably could knock him out in the second or third.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, bet. So we got Chase Super versus Clay Guida. I did not know that this fight was on this card.
Yeah.
I guess I kind of forgot. I must have forgot. It's just the fact that like
I think it might have got moved. But they grappled in 2022. Chase
mhm.
submitted him.
Right, yeah. It's pretty funny looking at it. Like he's 5'7" versus 6'1". Like
Mhm.
when the ceremonial weigh-ins happen on Friday and you see them facing off, you're gonna see what I'm talking about. Absolutely. Um, and and yeah, like I mean, I feel like there's not really much to say. I think it's gonna be a replication of the grappling match they had 2 years ago. I think Chase Silver gonna come out here and get a first round submission. I think the moment it hits the ground, Clay Guida might be in trouble. It's gonna be hard to control that big body, man. That
Mhm.
big body is gonna be really hard to control that, especially when Chase is great on the ground. This dude might be working on something special in his career, man. It's crazy. We saw him take all those bad losses at the early portion of his career, coming in the UFC at 18 years old. And he's really developed very nicely. He's like a whole new man. Got married, got a new haircut. Like it's really cool to see him get that confidence in himself because he knows he can strike with these dudes now. So because he's growing up inside the UFC, and that always benefits a fighter. So we'll see what happens with Chase Super in his career. I love his whole like static like Chase the Dream. I love like his nickname. But yeah, I got Chase. I got Chase the Dream Hooper. Most definitely.
I'm also taking Chase Hooper in this fight. Great submissions, great grappling, and really good kicks in range, managing distance. I don't think Clay will be able to do what Clay Guida does in fights. I think it's going to be hard for him to really be that brawler and that he is in this fight.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's gonna be hard, man. It's like the ground is lava, but Clay's a wrestler, and I think Chase might get it done with a knee. I think he might hurt him with the knee. It might make him shoot him for a takedown and get the guillotine. And yeah, going into the final, but technically the first fight of the night on Saturday night. Can't wait to see y'all on Saturday on social media platforms, of course. We're gonna be locked in for this card. We got 14 fights. So it's gonna be about a 7 hour night. I don't know if y'all got plans for Saturday or anything like that, but you might want to cancel them.
Rob Dwalishvili will face Umar Nurmagomedov for the bantamweight title at UFC 311 Los Angeles. Dana
Angeles?
White to
No
announce.
fucking way,
Oh
bro.
my God, Makachev versus Sarukian, same night.
On the same night.
What?
That's crazy.
Oh, you guys heard it here first.
Hold on, bro.
311.
That's
Oh
crazy.
my
Yeah,
God,
bro.
first
Double title
pay-per-view of
fight.
the year.
That's
Yo,
crazy.
that's a
Yeah, bro.
Umar and Islam?
On the same night, bro. On the same night, bro.
And Habib will be in both corners, bro.
January 18th.
Imagine. No, Umar wouldn't corner Islam, right? No, he would. He corners with Khabib sometime. Imagine he packed up Marab and did like the Lopez. Oh my god! All right, yo, that's a banger. We could talk about. Let's finish this card real quick so we can go into the thing. I'm taking Kenny by knockout. Kennedy by knockout. What you got?
I got Kennedy by
Okay,
KO.
boom. End the card. 9 out of 10 prediction. What do you got?
9 out of 10. Ooh, really? 9 out of 10. Damn. Okay.
I called that earlier. That's why I think it'll be after.
When it's over, okay. Yeah, I think the co-main and main might bring it home pre-card. Like before it happens, of course. I'm gonna go about it like an 8 on paper. Yeah, some great prelims on it. It was a stacked ass card, it really was before, especially with like Asakura coming in as a co-main. Then we had Shavkat and Bilal like that. It was a super, super stacked card, and they always stack the December card. So I look forward to it. Absolutely. Want to appreciate y'all again for joining us on this evening. Last thing, what we'll talk about, obviously, give it 2 more minutes. We got Marab and Umar. People thought,
Crazy.
People thought Marab was ducking him. You feel me? He shut everybody up. He will fight Umar Nurmagomedov. We're gonna see if Nurmagomedov can fulfill the prophecy on the same night that Islam could become the greatest lightweight of all time, because he would break the title defense record. And yeah, like it's like that's a pretty crazy night. Yeah, I'm because they're going back to Los Angeles, so they really want. Obviously, LA is full of celebrities. It's Los Angeles. You don't have to say anything about that. It's LA. Everyone knows it's LA. It's Los Angeles. So it's really cool. And they're going to be in the Intuit Dome. It's a brand new arena for the Los Angeles Clippers. So who play tonight versus the Minnesota Timberwolves. And yeah, it's gonna be a crazy card. It's gonna be pretty hard to top that card. Like
That's
UFC,
starting the
UFC
year off with a 10.
Yeah, it's wild, bro. Like whether it's UFC 315, 316, that's a pretty insane card. UFC 311, we now know 311 will, as we in the future, 311 was one of those numbers, like a 217, like a 280, like a 275. You feel me? Like all that kind of stuff. So
What's your too early 311 prediction? I got Islam and Umar by submission.
I got Marab and I got Sarukian. Wait, hold on. I got Umar. I do have Umar. And I was thinking about picking Sarukian.
Too early picks though. That's fine. Okay.
I do have Umar though. I 100% have
I
him.
think Umar submits him. I'm pretty confident. The Islam one, I think he could win in decision or knock him out. I think Islam could win anywhere. Umar, I think he'll sub Marab.
Okay. I think Armin can get it done as well, filling the gap that he has 5 years from the first fight. It's pretty crazy.
Islam looked good in that Poirier fight against
Yes, he did.
Poirier.
Yes, he did.
I don't think the striking gets much better than Poirier in lightweight.
It's gonna be pretty crazy.
I don't think the grappling gets much better than Charles.
That's one night where it's like fuck, like that's not a co-main event. That's a double.
I'm getting drunk that night.
That's that's a double main event, most definitely. And yeah,
Dana White put a really cool video, bro. Oh, you gotta watch it on Twitter. I'm gonna send it to you.
Oh yeah, please do, for sure. Yeah, y'all. Really appreciate y'all again for joining us. Got some live news during the cards. That's always fun. Appreciate y'all again for joining us tonight. God bless y'all. Enjoy the fight. Stay safe. Don't get too drunk. Don't get too high. Don't get too low. Life's full of ups and downs. You can just stay calm headed and just take it one step at a time. And that's it, So thank y'all so much for joining us. Episode 37 coming soon. Most definitely. We're gonna get a day for next week. It's another card that has fans. Of course, we've done Apex cards, of course, showing all respect. But we'd like to get the fan cards specifically too, because those feel kind of like pay-per-views, We got UFC Tampa next week. Colby Covington versus Joaquin Buckley. And yeah, I'll see you boys and girls later. And God bless y'all and good night.
Good night. Thank you guys for coming out here.